What innocent question that someone asked you crushed you a little?
My mom accidentally called me after about 10 years of not talking. I answered all ready for a serious conversation. When I answered, she was like, "Wait, who's this?" I say, "Hey mom, it's Fraggle Rocks." Her reply is what hurt. "Fraggle Rocks who? Why are you calling me mom?" She was so drunk, high she didn't recognize her own daughter's name. Fuck I.
My son undergoing chemo and radiation treatment for a bone marrow transplant. People, meaning well of course, would always ask, "How's your son doing?" I'd always have to fake a smile and give some shallow hopeful answer, "He's fine." He's a fighter, but deep inside the question crushed me every time. No, he was suffering. Teetered on the brink of life and death. He was not fine, and every time I heard that question I was reminded of it and had to swallow the pain. My son had since recovered, but it was a very tough time.
A waiter asked me if my wife was pregnant once. She was just bloated from chemo side effects. Crushed me, so glad she didn't hear. She couldn't have had kids and she passed 2 years back. I just wanted to say thanks to those who commented on this, it wasn't expected. We went to the place a lot, so as a young couple he had seen over the years, it was probably a reasonable thing to assume. Also, I'm doing okay. We knew she was terminal for most of our relationship. We probably did more in those few short years than we would have normally. It hurts a lot still, but I know I have her everything I possibly could in that time. Just remember to live life like each day could be your last. People, mend that broken friendship, ask out that girl, follow your dream. XXX.
I teach first grade and was talking about how I've been married for 5 years. One student asked, "How could you not have a baby by now?" Not wanting to explain multiple miscarriages and IVF to a classroom of 6-year-olds, I said, "Being around all of you makes my heart so full that I don't think I have room in my heart for a baby." They all smiled. I smiled too. I've learned from my experience to never ask couples when, if they want to have a family. Fucking hurts.
A friend looked at me and said, "I know we've talked about it before, but how did you break your nose?" I've never broken my nose, this is just how it looks.
When will you get better so you can play with us? My niece, who was too young to understand what disabled meant. She's older now and understands I will never get better. And we have adapted playtime to do things I can handle as well. But that broke my heart.
I went to get a haircut for my fiancé's funeral. It was Friday. He had died on Tuesday. My stylist, all bubbly, said, "It's been a while. The last time I saw you, you were just about to move in with your boyfriend. How's it going?" The words stuck and I kind of rasped it out. Honestly though, her reaction was so wonderful. She was behind me, and just put her hands firmly on my shoulders and looked me in the eyes in the mirror. No shock, no stupid platitudes, just silent, genuine empathy. The rest of the haircut was pretty quiet, but she did everything so, like, lovingly, and didn't make a big deal out of it when I cried a little.
I got asked why I wouldn't stand up straight for a photo. I have kyphosis and am standing up as straight as I can.
What's on her face, Mom? Little girl, I used to be a cashier and had terrible acne at the time.
I had no friends in summer school and a girl asked me if I had any friends. Like straight up, "Do you have any friends?" Then became friends with me, but still.
I could never imagine getting cancer at such a young age. How are you this strong, brave? Do you stay so positive? I've stopped counting the amount of people, especially working at the hospital, I'd expect a bit more sensitivity from them, that have asked me that. Yes, I'm mid-20s, but it's not a choice that I'm staying strong, it's fucking survival. Every time someone asks me that, it feels like getting punched.
Rough night last night? Usually asked with a big smile. I was asked that all the time when I was younger because I had a really obvious tremor. Thing is, I did not drink or do drugs at all and I had no idea what was wrong with me. I was eventually diagnosed with Graves' disease and treated for it, but I still have a bit of a tremor.
Nonverbal, but the nurse at the flu shot station seemed unsure whether to give me the under 65 or over 65 consent form. If I'm going to be mistaken for being that much older than my actual age, at least it should be in the context of me getting a senior discount.
Why don't you ever go out? Well, because I don't have anyone to go out with. Damn.
Why do you work in a factory when you have an honors degree in physics?
Specialist appointment and they did the normal thing of checking contact details. They asked if the contact number and details for my wife were still correct. I started crying. My wife passed away this time 12 months ago. Surprising how much one simple question asked in total innocence can bring you to your knees. How are you handling everything? My notary public, who also happens to be my boss's boss while notarizing my divorce paperwork. Completing a divorce packet with no help from an attorney can be a real pain in the ass, but at least it kept me focused on the bureaucratic bullshit nonsense part of it rather than the fact that my 9-year marriage was ending. Turned out that as soon as someone asked me sincerely how I was doing, the answer was not at all well. I went back to my desk and had a panic attack.
My acne was so bad that a coworker asked if I had been in a car accident or something. That one cut deep.
I worked in retail when I was younger and people would always be like, "Oh, do you have any ideas for Father's Day? What did you get your dad?" My dad committed suicide when I was 16. They had no way of knowing that, but damn if it didn't hurt.
God, this reminds me of a time I was an idiot. I was cashiering and we had some red roses that were pretty popular. I rang up some lad dressed quite nice purchasing the roses and I asked if they were for anyone special, you know. Well, no, they were for his recently passed dad's grave. I apologized so hard, but he said it was fine and he's doing well, but it was time to change the flowers. Shut me the frick up real quick.
Back in 6th grade we were watching a film in my science class. Of course, my table took this opportunity to just chat. Don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but my friend finds out I didn't know the word vagina, knew the body part, just not the term. I didn't get to explain that to the table because his immediate response was, "Didn't your dad ever have the talk with you?" I spent the rest of the period with my head down crying. My friend kind of freaked out. He demanded that no one at the table say anything sex-related because he thought that maybe I was crying 'cause I wasn't mature enough to talk about that stuff yet. I told him later that night on RuneScape that my dad had been arrested about a year or two ago and that was the reason for my reaction. I'm 25 now and deaf over it, lol, but at the time that question destroyed me. It was good though, he was the first person I'd talked about it with and it brought us closer at the time.
Not a question, but my 8-year-old niece once remarked, "You don't laugh anymore."
I was playing doctor with a 3-year-old girl once. I had been struggling with depression a lot lately at the time, so when she asked me what was wrong today I told her, "Sometimes I just get sad." She had a clipboard with a sheet of square paper stickers on it. She nodded thoughtfully, scribbled something on her paper, then ripped off a sticker and stuck it to my shirt, saying, "Here's a duck for you, he'll make you happy." I still have that little pink duck sticker. I put it inside of my laptop, above the keyboard. He didn't cure shit, but he does make me smile.
When I was 13, my mom got a divorce from a man who I can only refer to as a step monster. I worked all summer to save up money since we didn't have a lot and I was worried we wouldn't have enough to pay the bills. I ended up having a few dollars left over and wanted to buy my mom a gift, and she mentioned she needed a new watch for her birthday. I went to the jeweler and got a $100 gold Citizen Evo Drive watch. It was functional and it looked really nice. When I gave it to her, her first response was, "Thanks honey, did it come in silver?" I was crushed. Insult to injury, she started dating a guy around the same time and he bought her a crappy silver watch. She ended up wearing his over mine 18 years later and it still hurts when I think about it.
Mom asked me, "Who are you?" when I visited her recently. She has dementia.
When will we dig up Dad? Asked by my almost 5-year son. He's never met him as Dad died 3 months before birth. This goes along the question, when will Dad stop being dead? When me and my dad and my sister were driving to another town to get away from my mom so we could eat without getting yelled at, stuff thrown at us, my sister asked why mommy was so mean, and my dad had to simplify to her level that her mom was an alcoholic. She was 6. Oh shit, this blew up, thanks I guess.